Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 8th Canto, 8th chapter, text number 18 through 20. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is 20 is on the board? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, I guess. Yes. 20 is on the board? Yes. Okay. So let us recite the Guru Parampara Pranams first, please. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pacharane Nirvishesha Shanivari Paskaja Desitarane Om Agyanat Brindasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chaksuan Minitam Gyana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Strapadam Gyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Daradi Svapadantiham Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapatakamanam Sri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Stam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Laita Sri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopaka Kanta Radha Kanta Namosite Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavana Vasura Devi Pramamame Haripade Vanchakapa Karubhascha Kripasinu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnava Bhuvnamo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is describing all the amazing things that came out of the ocean of milk with the churning. The Mandara mountain was the churning rod, Vashuki, the dragon, was the rope churning this, and at the bottom, Kurma Avatar was the resting place. And the confidential reason that he wanted to be the pivot on the bottom of the mountain was because he had an itch on his back. And so the churning of the mountain, it was scratching the itch on his back. So many wonderful things happened at one time in the pastimes of the Lord. It's a very, very ecstatic, very juicy pastime of the Lord. So now the different kinds of things that have come out of the ocean of milk upon the churning are being described in the previous verses. So in the 17th verse, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, having been properly celebrated with auspicious ritualistic ceremony, began moving about, holding her hand in a garland of lotus flowers, which were surrounded by humming bumblebees. Smiling with shyness, her cheeks decorated by her earrings, she looked extremely beautiful. So she came out of the ocean of milk also. This is also very mysterious. After all, the relationship between Lakshmi and Narayan is eternal. She is his eternal consort. Yet, in this pastime, she appears out of the ocean of milk. So this way back at the very beginning of the creation, so that she establishes herself as his consort after appearing out of the ocean of milk, described as being the daughter of the ocean of milk. In this way, there's nothing mundane about it. It's very extraordinary how the eternal personality, supreme personality of Goddess, appears out of the ocean of milk, although she is eternally the consort of Lord Narayan. It's all very wonderful, engineered under Hladini Shakti, the internal potency of the Lord. It's all very ecstatic. This is the nectar. So when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we are milking the Surabhi cow of Shabda Brahm, transcendental sound vibration. So this is very important. Now, the next part, you see, I will begin with the 18th verse. I have a little disclaimer to make. I didn't write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't blame me if it's very graphic. Okay? Especially ladies, please don't blame me. It's very graphic. But you can, is Srila Vyasadeva, he is spoken like this, Shukadeva Goswami spoken like this. So I'm not the author. So please don't hold me responsible for the graphic descriptions given here of the goddess of fortune. Interestingly enough, throughout the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, many places, the beautiful women are described in great detail. Their whole bodily construction and detail is described multiple times. For example, later, Mohini Murti will be described as incredibly beautiful. And so many other places, all the beautiful women are described in extreme detail. And it's ironic that the sages of Naimisharanya are all self-realized souls, ascetics, and they're sitting there and they're listening to all these descriptions of these extraordinarily beautiful women, you know. But because they are self-realized, they're dhira. They're not disturbed by this, you see. So similarly, Ramananda Roy, the eternal associate, the intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was not an ordinary jiva, that is, he's not an ordinary devotee. Although Mahaprabhu played the role of an extremely strict acharya, very strict, as we know from the pastime of Junior Haridas, that Mahaprabhu in his role as acharya was extremely strict. Yet, the fact that Ramananda Roy had the service of massaging beautiful young girls who were the dancers for Lord Jagannath, that didn't bother Mahaprabhu in the slightest. You see, so this, when somebody is Atmarama, fully self-satisfied, situated in prem, as was Ramananda Roy, then even this interaction with the opposite sex or hearing about the opposite sex is not a disturbance. So with that prologue, we'll go to text number 18. Again, this is a description of the goddess of fortune. It's given by Shukadeva Swami, Sudha Goswami, and by Srila Vyasadeva. So please don't blame me. Fair enough? Yes? She came out of the ocean of milk. She looked extremely beautiful. The next verse 18, where we're starting, her two breasts, which were symmetrical and nicely situated. You see, the Bhagavatam goes into detail in describing the ladies. Not my fault. Were covered with sandalwood pulp and kumkum powder, and her waist was very thin. And she walked here and there, her ankle bells jingling softly. She appeared like a creeper of gold. Text 19. While walking among the Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras, Siddhas, Charnas, and denizens of heaven, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, was scrutinizingly examining them, but she could not find anyone naturally endowed with all good qualities. So this is a, you could say, Mahamela of the churning of the ocean of milk. You probably all know the story that there was big fighting going on between the Devas and the Asuras. So somehow or other they made a treaty, and all right, let's, they heard about this pot of nectar could come out of the ocean of milk, so they agreed, all right, let's churn the ocean of milk, and so we can get this pot of nectar of immortality, not ordinary pot of cure, you know, pot of nectar of immortality. So then they came to a truce, and that was also very significant. So what the point is, the background here is that there were Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras. The demons were also there because the contest had been going on between the demons and the Devas. And here we see the downside of false ego, because at first the Devas had the head of Vasuki. Vasuki is a dragon. So actually dragons are real. And in the medieval artwork you'll see lots of pictures of dragons. It's not actually mythology. Vasuki, you could say, is the original dragon in the universe. You know, he's breathing fire and extreme toxic fumes like worse than a volcano. You know, it's bad breath, you could say. He's really, you know, burning. So it was a very toxic situation. He was putting out toxic fumes, not environmentally friendly. So then the Devas had the head of Vasuki, and it was tough because the fumes were toxic and they were fainting and so forth. But anyways, before it was realized how toxic the fumes of the Vasuki's breath, flames, like a volcano or beyond, far beyond a volcano. So the Devas, the demons, they saw that the Devas had chosen the head of the Vasuki. They saw that the Devas chose the head of the Vasuki. They thought, oh, there must be something to this false logic. You see how false logic can get you into trouble. Oh, the head must be superior. Otherwise, why did the Devas take it? So Kshatriyas are very heroic, you know. They're great heroes. Even the demons are considered great heroes. So they said, no, we'll take the head and you take the tail. The Devas said, okay, if you like, no problem, you know. But actually, this was not a very good deal for the demons, because the fumes were overpowering. Like if you stand on a rim of a volcano, you're going to get like really heavy, extreme heat and carbon monoxide and all kinds of gases and everything. That was like you could say, bad breath coming from the mouth, the fire coming from the mouth of Vasuki. Big time, the largest dragon in the universe, you know. So the demons were fainting even from the toxicity of his fumes coming out of his mouth. And the Devas, they said, okay, if you like. So they took the tail. So it backfired on the demons. In other words, this is what happens when you have a false ego and you have a plan, you know, based on false ego. Then they got cheated by destiny. So, anyways. So everyone is there. Gandharvas, of course, are the celestial singers. Yakshas, Asuras, Siddhas are very high. Devas, Charnas, denizens of heaven. So they're all there. These are all great Kshatriya heroes. And now Lakshmi Devi appears from the ocean of milk. Now, it was previously described that when Lakshmi Devi appears, she is so beautiful, so extraordinarily beautiful. But the Devas and the Asuras, they're lusting over her, you see. So this is going on in the material world. This lust is all-devouring. Krishna says, all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So they were lusting over the goddess of fortune, and this is the problem. So in the modern world, we see how everybody wants Lakshmi without Narayan. Prabhupada used to make this point many times. Everybody wants Lakshmi without Narayan. So in India, you won't find this in the United States, but in India you will find Lakshmi tours, Lakshmi plumbers, you know. I've seen the signs, Lakshmi plumbers, Lakshmi tours, tour bus line called Lakshmi, you know. And so many Lakshmi this, Lakshmi that. Because they're after the money. They know she's a goddess of fortune. They've all seen the pictures of the gold coins cascading out of her hands, so they want the money. But they're not interested in Narayan. So this is Ravana mentality, you see. Ravana wanted to enjoy the goddess of fortune, Sita Devi, and so he wanted to enjoy her without Ram. He wanted to take her away from Ram. So this is the modern mentality also. So she's looking out, she's playing the role of a, you could say, virgin maiden, an unmarried young girl. She's playing that role. It's role playing, trying to understand that these things are all under Hladini Shakti, under Leela Shakti of the Lord. These things are all wonderful, sweet pastimes engineered for the pleasure of the Lord and his consort. So she's playing the role as if she's a, what shall we say, bachelorina, eligible young lady without husband. It's a pretend game, you understand? So this is what's going on here. So the men, they are lusting over her. Even the devas are very pious, but they can't help it. They're also lusting over her. So in this way, she starts looking out. She's glancing with her famous glance. She's looking at all the men. She's looking for a husband. She's a beautiful young woman. And so naturally she has to have a husband. So she was allowed to select her own husband in a Swayambara ceremony, the purport from the 19th verse. She examined every one of the candidates, because there are all these Kshatriya heroes there, but she could not find anyone suitably qualified to be her shelter. In other words, Narayan, the natural husband of Lakshmi, cannot be superseded by anyone in the material world. In other words, cannot be eclipsed. There's no competition. So actually she was looking for Lord Narayan. But she sees and said, these lusty men with all their imperfections, never mind their Kshatriya heroes, that didn't impress her at all, because she's not impressed by anything material. By the mundane approach to the goddess of fortune, it won't work. She has to be approached through the Vaishnava saints, first of all, and they can give access to the goddess of fortune, who gives access to Narayan. Or similarly, we're chanting Hare Krishna, because we don't say Krishna Radha, Krishna, we don't say Krishna Hare, Krishna Hare. Krishna can only be approached through Srimati Radharani. So Hari is a sound incarnation of Radhika. So actually we're chanting Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha Radha, Radhika Raman, Radhika Raman, Raman Raman, Radhe Radhe. That's what we're actually chanting. But our acharyas did not give Mahamantra like that. Hari Krishna. So Hari is Srimati Radharani. So Krishna is approached through Hare, H-A-R-E. He's approached through Radharani, and Radharani cannot be approached except through Guru Parampara, surrender to Guru Parampara, bona fide spiritual master. In this way, she has appeared, and she's looking out on the crowd to see who would be a suitable husband, but they are all defective. So now we'll chant the verse, text number 20. Nunam. Little gusto, please. Nunang tapo yasya na manyu nijayo. Give it a little more volume, please. Jnanam Vachit Tachcha Na Sangha Varjitam Kashin Mahangs Tasya Na Kama Nijayaha Sa Ishvaraha King Parato Vipashrayaham Nunam tapoyasya namanyu niraya Namanyu diro Nunam tapoyasya namanyu nirjayo Jnanam vajitachcha nasanga virjitam Kashin mahangs tasya na karma nirjayaha Sa ishvara kim parato vyapashrayaha Nunam tapo yasya namanyu nirjayo Jnanam kvachitachcha na sangha varjitam Kashin mahangstasya Nakama Nirjayaha Saishwara Kim Parato Vipashrayaha. Next. Vaishnavis. Translation. The goddess of fortune, examining the assembly, thought in this way: someone who has undergone great austerity has not yet conquered anger. Someone possesses knowledge, but he has not conquered material desires. Someone is a very great personality, but he cannot conquer lusty desires. Even a great personality depends on something else. How then can he be the supreme controller? So she's looking for the supreme controller. She naturally won't settle for anything less because she's the eternal consort of the supreme controller. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here is an attempt to find the supreme controller, or Ishvara. Everyone may be accepted as an Ishvara or controller, but still such controllers are controlled by others. For example, one may have undergone severe austerities, but still be under the control of anger. By scrutinizing analysis, we find that everyone is controlled by something else. No one, therefore, can be the true controller but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. This is supported by the Shastras. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Brahmasumit. The supreme controller is Krishna. Krishna is never controlled by anyone, for he is the controller of everyone, Sarvakarna Karnam. Of course, he is controlled, on the other hand, by Srimati Radharani. That's a whole different story. In other words, that's Rajavidya Rajaguya. The confidential understanding is, yes, Krishna is not controlled by any jiva, certainly not. Oh, then again, if you look at it from this standpoint, is controlled by the love of his devotees. Certainly he's controlled by the love of his devotees. But that has to be a perfectly developed prem. Or even if one has just got some love for Krishna, as a result of the devotional service, deity worship, attachment for Krishna, Prabhupada's order is somehow or other just become attached to Krishna. In other words, however you can do it, deity worship, chanting the holy name especially, so many ways, become attached to Krishna, however you can do it. This is Prabhupada's order. So, yet Krishna is controlled by the gopis, Krishna is controlled by Radharani, but that's special confidential understanding. That's 10th canto understanding of the Bhagavatam. So, it is not for everyone to understand how Krishna is controlled by Srimati Radharani and the gopis. So the goddess of fortune, she's looking for her ultimate hero, Narayan. But she's finding the defects in all the heroes who are there. Someone who has undergone great austerity, who has not yet conquered anger. So conquering anger is most important for a sage. But we see, for example, Devrasi Muni, big yogi, big sadhu, big sage. But did he conquer anger? Has he conquered anger? Not really, you see. Durvasa is, as a matter of fact, Durvasa is famous for having a short fuse. You know that saying, short fuse means easily ignited. Like if you're lighting a firecracker, it has a short fuse, boom, in a few seconds you light it and boom. So Durvasa Muni is famous for being like that big Tyagi, big sadhu, big Brahman, but still very short fuse, so very inclined towards anger. For example, he wanted to he was, you could say, hired by Duryodhana to destroy the Pandavas. Well, so he went there to take prasad, but there was they'd already eaten, but Draupadi had this benediction that if she took even 1 grain of rice, it could satisfy the whole universe, practically. So he was angry because, you see, Duryodhana was very clever, but you cannot outsmart the Supreme Personality of God. It is not possible. Parameshwara, it is not possible to outsmart the Lord. Prabhupada puts it this way: don't try to cheat Krishna. He's a better cheater than you are. So we have to be very careful because everybody's trying to cheat Krishna one way or another. Even when we are neophyte devotees, we try to cheat Krishna by not giving our heart and soul 100% in surrender. That's also another type of cheating. So Duryodhana was trying to cheat the Pandavas, but it backfired because Draupadi had this benediction of this magic pot thing where she looked inside her pot. There was just 1 grain of rice when she ate that grain of rice. And then Durvasa Muni and all his, 10,000 men, they were fully satisfied. They had gone to take a bath. And then they're taking their bath and they're fully satisfied. Their bellies became full by the mystic potency of the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Goddess. So they weren't hungry. Then Durvasa became embarrassed. They're supposed to go for lunch, and they're not hungry, so they just bowed out quietly. Didn't go, you see. But Durvasa knew if he went there, and there was no sufficient prasad, he timed it specifically so Durvasa would arrive after they ate, and there wouldn't be anything left, you see. He timed it that way. Duryodhana had timed it that way on purpose in order to cheat the Pandavas, but it didn't work because Krishna is smarter than all other cheaters. Krishna is the best of the cheaters. And the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says of cheaters, I am the gambler. So even in gambling, we can't imagine the manifestation of Krishna's potency. So then Durvasa would have been extremely angry if there wasn't enough food for his 10,000 men on the spot. No advance notice, no nothing, And then Durvasa would have burned all the Pandavas to ashes, and Duryodhana wouldn't even have to fight. There wouldn't have been a war. But Krishna outsmarted him with this extraordinary pastime by the mercy of Draupadi. So Durvasa is a big yogi and big sadhu, big Brahman, but he's subject to anger. So, on the other hand, someone possesses knowledge, but he has not conquered material desires. So throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many examples of learned sages that they have knowledge, but they become victims of lust even. It's Subari Muni, isn't it, who was in the water, Subari Muni, and he saw two fish engaged in sex life, and so he became disturbed, and he came out, and then he got married to many, many young ladies. So the thing is that he was a tyagi, he was a big ascetic, performing severe austerities underwater. You know, yogis they can go underwater. Like the Prachetas, for example, they were underwater for something like 10,000 years, performing austerities. And then they came out, and this is also in the Bhagavatam. These are all Bhagavat Lila. This is all Bhagavat Lila. They came out, and there were a lot of trees everywhere. There were too many trees everywhere. The whole land had become overgrown with dense forest. Well, that irritated the Prachetas. They were great souls, but they were irritated by this. So they started burning all the forest with a mega forest fire, just like in California. A few months back, there was a mega forest fire devouring tens of thousands of acres of land. I mean, the flames were 300 feet tall. It's not imaginable. I don't think there's fires like that in India. But in California, every, say, 25 years or so, there's fires like that. You know, so there was such a big, so the Prachetas used their mystic power, and they were just burning all the forests and destroying all the trees. They thought there were too many trees. But they were stopped. They were pacified. So then the trees gave their daughter in marriage to pacify the Prachetas. So in this way, they were satisfied. They cooled down, literally cooled down, because they just ignited this mega forest fire. So now they cooled down, literally. Don't ask me how trees have daughters. Don't ask me that question, you know. But the Bhagavatam is full of all kinds of mystic phenomena. So no need to read science fiction stories. No need at all, you know. The Bhagavad is full of excitement, isn't it? Yes, it is. Full of excitement, drama. I have to tell you something juicy. That a few years back, about 3 years ago, I was in Calcutta, and I was invited to be the primary speaker at a congregational mela, and there were 800 Bhakti Viksha groups there. It was a big gathering, and so somewhere or other, towards the end of my talk, I became inspired to sell Bhagavatam sets. This is improbable. I'm not famous for selling books. I'm not famous for selling Bhagavatam, but somehow or other I got some inner inspiration to sell some Bhagavatam sets out of the blue. I like that saying, because we know not what the blue is, we know who the blue is, right? We know who the blue is. The blue is Krishna. So I got this inspiration to sell sets of books. I'm not known like the great famous book distributors, but I got this inspiration. So I started speaking about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. I said, you people are watching television, cinema, you're doing these things, and some of you may be reading novels because you want exciting stories. You want some kind of fabulous mythology, you know. What if reality is better than mythology? But we have to seek it out from a different source, not from your morning newspaper, not from television, but from the authorized source, Srimad Bhagavatam, as delivered Guru Parampara, given to us by Srila Prabhupada. So why not go for the real thing? I said, you want to hear about intergalactic wars? You know, interstellar, you know, upper planetary system, devas versus the demons? Fine, read Srimad Bhagavatam. Then do you want to hear about weapons, mystic weapons? much more powerful than Star Wars, I think some people in India know about Star Wars. In the West, everybody knows about Star Wars. Weapons, oh man, that's nothing. Those wands they use in Star Wars, that's nothing in comparison to the weapons used by the Devas and the demons. Super weapons. You destroy everything in all directions practically. So you can hear the details of how these weapons are constructed, what they look like, how they fly through the sky, how much destruction they do, and all the Shastras. The detail is there. Ramayana also, but I was focusing on Srimad Bhagavatam. She said, you want to hear about exciting stories, you want to hear about fights? Don't read some trashy novel. Read the Srimad Bhagavatam. You want to hear about the private life of Lord Shiva? Read Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm afraid your local Hindu priest can't tell you about the private life of Lord Shiva. How can he tell you something he doesn't know? He doesn't know. What you could read in Srimad Bhagavatam, or the extraordinary pastimes of Lord Shiva given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So many pastimes of Lord Shiva. Of course, all Hindus are very interested in Lord Shiva. But what knowledge is given, the confidential activities of Lord Shiva given in Srimad Bhagavatam, you can't get that from your local priest. They don't know. I'll give you a striking example. There's one pastime where Parvati was sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva in a forest up in the Himalayas somewhere. They were in a sensual pose, and so because Lord Shiva has many aspects to his powerful personality, he's fully ascetic, very austere, but sometimes he also likes to enjoy some sense of enjoyment, and Parvati is his beloved wife and his disciple also. So anyways, she was sitting on his lap, and along came a sage who was wandering in the forest. He saw Parvati sitting on Lord Shiva's lap. Now, Parvati is a very chaste lady. She was so embarrassed, so embarrassed. So then, Lord Shiva is a perfect husband, a very dutiful, first-class husband. So he said, don't worry, this will never happen again. It'll never happen again. If any men come into this part of the forest in our retreat here, they'll immediately be changed into female. This is Bhagavatam. I'm not making this up. It sounds far out. I'm not making it up. It's Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm explaining things like this to this group in Calcutta. So all these, so this benediction already been given to Parvati over this one Brahmin who wandered in there and embarrassed his wife. The benediction was in place, so mystic power was all set up. The zone, the male-free zone was already set up. So then, later, along came a king with his whole army, and they were up in the Himalayas on a hunting expedition, and they just happened to accidentally wander into this no-male zone created by Lord Shiva. Suddenly, without warning, the king became female, and all his men became female. Not only that, his horses, their horses all became mares. Mares means female horses. So no males, including the horses. They all were transformed into female form. This became a problem later on because the king was absolutely mortified, and when he went back to his kingdom, there was a problem, no more male king now. He's in a female body. I think it was Durvasa he approached. Was it Durvasa he approached and prayed, oh, please help me out of this mess. Can you help me out of this? He says, well, I can't reverse the will of Lord Shiva. I don't have the power to do that, but I'll give you, I'll mitigate it. I'll make it easier for you. You have to do so many months as a female form and so many months in male form, alternating. Well, the king wasn't very happy about this. The citizens weren't happy about it either. This was highly irregular, but it was already decided. This is Bhagavatam. So I'm explaining these things in this Calcutta Mela So I said, so, who would like to take a set of Srimad Bhagavatams? I said, this is the most fascinating book you ever read in your life. Who would like to set of Srimad Bhagavatams? 30 hands went up. You heard me. 30 hands went up who wanted a full set of Srimad Bhagavatams. And one man was so enlivened by this talk that he stood up and said, I'll give 500 rupees to everyone who buys a set of Srimad Bhagavatam today. Haribol. So, in this way, I took pledges for 30 full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam in about 25 minutes. So, this is a nice way of describing the Bhagavatam. Adventure stories, everything, whatever you want to read in some novel, you'll find it better in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Calcutta is not known for book distribution either. Their daily scores are not nothing headline making. So this was astonishing, and devotees weren't actually ready for this. I said, quickly go get the names of all the people, get their mobile numbers, get their email address, all the people that made the pledges, otherwise it would fall flat, because they were really jacked up. They were really enthused on hearing about what the actual subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is. Because those who haven't read Srimad Bhagavatam have no clue. But this story of the turning of the Mandara Mountain and the Ocean of Milk, also very fascinating, utterly fascinating. It's one of my all-time favorite stories of Srimad Bhagavatam. All the details, I've only summarized a very, very short version today. It takes at least an hour just to tell the narration of the turning of the ocean milk. So, the goddess of fortune is looking out and finding out the defects of all of the heroes that are assembled there. Everyone is controlled by others. So nobody can say they're bottomish what. Everybody's controlled. Children are controlled by their parents. Parents are controlled by their prayers. Relatives, relatives control whole families by extension and so forth. Boss controls his employees. The head of state controls their region. The chief minister controls their state. The prime minister controls the nation, and so forth and so on. So everyone's under some control. And behind all of that are the modes of material nature. Everyone in the material life are under the controls of the modes of material nature. So control cannot be avoided. Because we are Prakriti. We are Prakriti, and Krishna is Purusha. He's the enjoyer, and we are the enjoyed. There's one interesting pastime that one time you all know about Mirabai, the famous Vaishnavi saint. So she wanted to have darshan with Srila Rupa Goswami. So she spoke to some attendant, and Rupa Goswami told her, told the attendant, tell her I don't give darshan to ladies. So then she sent back a message to Rupa Goswami. She said, that's strange. I thought that Krishna is the only male in Vrindavan. In this way, when Rupa Goswami heard that, he said, send her in. So, the Shastra is the best place to get all kinds of extraordinary narrations that are true stories, not mythology. So, everyone has some kind of controller. We have to choose who we're going to be controlled by, that's all. A wise person, an intelligent person, takes Krishna's advice, Sarvadharma Padeshajam Mamekam Sadam Braja. A wise person accepts the control of Krishna and accepts control by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. That kind of, the highest level of control, a wise person accepts that. Of mudhas, Krishna gives his opinion about mudhas, fools, rascals. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it's asunam bhava mastruta asuras or demons, they don't want to be controlled by Lord Vishnu, just like the Bhagavatam is full of these interactions where the demons are trying to avoid Lord Vishnu. Sometimes they actually try to kill Lord Vishnu. As the soldiers of Bali Maharaj, they tried to kill Vamanadev without the permission of Bali Maharaj, who was the king of the demons. They attacked Vamanadev. They knew he was Lord Vishnu. They attacked him with the intent of killing him. This is demon, envy. When they were just completely smashed by Vamanadev. Remember, Vamanadev is in the body of a 5-year-old child, a Brahman, famous. We've seen the pictures with the umbrella, 5 years old. But somehow he dismantled all of the demons who attacked him. They didn't have a chance, you know. This is Krishna, this is Vishnu, the supreme predominator. So the goddess of fortune is looking out, and she's scrutinizing. Scrutinizing, of course, means very carefully looking at all of the men in the assembly, both devas and asuras, and she's not finding anybody suitable there. So no one, Prabhupada comments, can be a true controller but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. This is supported by the Shastra, Ishvara Parama Krishna, which is, of course, Brahma Samhita. So all these big men, they were all defective. So even if they've underwent severe austerities, still subject to anger, and even if they were very opulent, very beautiful, because remember, all the devas are very beautiful also. The men, they're all kshatriyas. They're decorated with beautiful gold helmets, costly gems. The value of the gems on the helmet of a kshatriya and Devaloka alone will be millions of crores in earth money. So the thing is, who can calculate? They're all very beautiful, big mustachio, you know. So in this way, the Kshatriyas, they've got their super weapons. They're great heroes and very, very handsome also. They're not, you know, like street people of this world. They're very, very handsome, beyond movie stars, you know. Movie stars can't be as handsome as, no matter how they try with so much makeup and all that. They cannot be as they cannot be as handsome as the devas, the Kshatriyas. Still, and they're dressed so beautifully. Still, the goddess of fortune was not attracted by any of them. She's only looking for Lord Narayan. This is the concept. So she won't settle for anything except because Lord Narayan is infallible. He's most perfect of all. He's the most perfect male in the creation. So why would she settle for anything else? All right. So we'll stop there. There's much more nectar to be derived from the churning of the ocean of milk. Fortunately, you'll be hearing more about the whole narration. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. You have a question? Okay. Jagaguru Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Granchana Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava Ashtasaki ki jai. Nitya Gopa Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.